Okay, this is in this chapter we are going to discuss the TOGAF framework and also the eSCM framework. The eSCM framework, we touched base on this one. Do you remember for what it is used? eSCM, anybody? Do you remember? For outsourcing, to deal with outsource our outsourcing vendors. Okay. So for TOGAF for history, this is a customer initiative, okay, developed based on the user requirement, okay. So it is a single unifying architectural framework for the IT industry, okay, mainly for building the IT architecture. So to customize and build the IT architecture to meet business needs, we can use and utilize TOGAF. Okay. Now everybody in the industry, they agree on TOGAF. Okay. And by the way, TOGAF does not depend on specific industry and not necessarily for Microsoft platform or Google or Azure or Linux. Okay, it's a technology neutral. So we're just putting the framework, the blueprints, high level. Okay. We can watch the YouTube when we do the activity. Okay, for the TOGAF structure and component, okay, we have the architecture development method, ADM. The abbreviation is ADM. Then we have the foundation architecture, okay, this one in the middle. Then we have the resource base. Resource base, what is needed for the other two components, okay. This is how it is built. So you have the resource base, your foundation. On top of it is the foundation architecture. Then you have the architecture development method. Any questions? No? Okay. Now let's talk about each one. ADM. It's an open industry standard for IT architecture. So it's technology neutral. It does not depend whether you are you're using Linux, Microsoft, or anything. Okay, a quick start foundation, and it's a practical experience-based guidance. So it's more on practical side of the framework. Okay. And also with TOGAF, you need to validate for each requirement every time. Okay. You need to validate for each requirement. All right. Now the second level or the middle domain, which is TRM, the Foundation Architecture Technical Reference Model, TRM. Okay. And this is mainly about defining the scope of each service category. Okay. And identifying the system-wide capabilities. Okay. Such as security management of the system. They are defined here. All right. Why are we talking about this kind of very high level term? Because TOGAF is about what? I just mentioned it. About the architecture. It's all about architecture of your enterprise. So you see all these high level designs. Okay. Also, in the second term in foundation architecture is the standards information base, SIB. Okay. It has the complete set of open group endorsed standards that can be used. Okay. and it is determined by open group consensus process. Okay. It is usually regularly updated, like everything else in TOGAF, and it is open access. Anyone can access it. Okay. And you can get also, if you go to this link, you can find some other resources on TOGAF. Okay. The resources available in applying the TOGAF, we have ADML, architecture compliance reviews, architecture principles. So it's all about architecture. Always remember TOGAF with architecture. Link them together. Okay. You have some case studies, IT governance strategies. Yeah, this is back there talking about the TOGAF history. Okay. It started in 1995. It is compliance with IEEE as well. Okay. There are new versions, by the way. Okay, this is just comparison between, this is more about version 7. Okay. As you can see, the industry, with the help of industry, they added more modules to meet the industry standards. Okay. Are there other frameworks than TOGAF? Yes. We have Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework. I mean, just you need to know the name. We have also TEF, Treasury Enterprise Architecture Framework, SPIWOK, Enterprise Architecture Planning, Zachman Framework. Okay. Our focus is in the TOGAF framework for architecture. The forum is where TOGAF is evolved and updated. Everything is discussed in the forum. Okay. Vendors, customers, even solution providers, academic and research, they go there and they collaborate. Okay. Even you can get case studies, some best practice scenarios, best practice advices on how to implement TOGAF. Okay. Everything about architecture in this website. Okay. Here we start talking about eSCM. Okay. What is eSCM? eSCM is a framework to help improve the quality of your outsourcing practices. Okay. What is the definition of outsourcing according to IAOP? Outsourcing is a long-term, results-oriented business relationship with a specialized third-party service provider that can be strategic and transformational, or it can be tactical, short-term. It does not necessarily to be strategic. Okay, this is the definition, the complete definition of outsourcing. And we have different types of outsourced. We already mentioned strategic, which is long-term, more than 1 year, or tactical. What is outsourcing? Strategic outsourcing, act of obtaining services from an external source. This is for IT. Here the definition for specifically for IT. The practice of contracting out a business function previously performed in-house to an external provider. يعني a service we used to do here before, let's say maintaining our website, but then we decide to have another party to do it, external party, for example. Okay. This is part of executive management to decide on the eSCM. Okay. This is a leadership decision. Assets and processes are transformed to service providers and or core competencies are supplemented by service providers centers of excellence. Okay. اللي هو R&D, research and design, product design and development, and so on. Okay, this is just an example for the strategic outsourcing. Okay, you have a comment or all right, so this is the strategic outsourcing. All right, so can you give me an example? I know there's a lot of definitions in this, but it's easy. Give me an example here at our campus, a service that we used to do or is done by an outsource company. IT, especially IT. I'm not talking about general. I think last time or previous classes I gave you some examples. Remember? Like what? Our printers. Our printers, the maintenance for the printers, they are done by outsource company. Let's say our call center. It has some people there, manpower. They are from outsource company. They are not our direct employees. So these are examples of IT outsourced services. But what about non-IT? Give me an example here. Non-IT. Security. Security is an outsourced company. All right. What else? I think maybe maintenance. Some of the maintenance people, like AC, they are not necessarily our staff. They are maybe from a contractor. Is it clear? Is it clear now? Okay, good. So tactical is same, but it is for short term. Okay. It can include staff, supplementation, and easily scalable IT services. Like what? Maybe web server, or maybe application service provider. Okay. This can be tactical, yani operational. Okay. It's mainly about service. No assets are transferred. You are not moving your servers to their premises. You are not buying from them hardware or assets. You are contracting their services for a short period of time. Okay, maybe to solve a problem or to new technology. You want to take opportunity, and you still don't have the experienced staff in that technology, so you can hire their services. Okay, but for a limited time period. That's why it's called tactical outsourcing. Okay, we have also some other definitions for outsource. It can be very specific according to the enterprise. So we have onshore outsource. This is especially for big companies, very big companies. We have home country outsourcing اللي هو بسموه onshore. We have rural outsourcing for remote areas. We have near shore outsourcing, okay, which is if you are getting the service from a country near your place. Okay. We have offshore if you are getting it from international, from another country. We call it offshore. If it's not a neighboring country. If it's a neighboring, then we call it nearshore outsourcing. Far, it is called offshore outsourcing. And then we have best shore outsourcing. Okay, this is a new term. Here we have the one that is yani hybrid. It has the best from all of them. Okay, so we call this best shore according to your needs. This is the latest term used. طيب. Why? First of all, what are the things that we can outsource? Who can tell me some examples? Your database management. Outsource, yeah, very good. Like HR, hiring, interviews, good, very good. Manpower supply, yani maybe. Else, anything else? Cloud services, yes, also you can. Also, you can get the cloud service, let's say from Microsoft, Azure, or some other cloud services, maybe from Google. Good. Right now we are using the Azure mainly for our courses, right? You have access to Azure in your classes. Maybe you used to have, right? Azure mainly, right? Yeah, yeah. System and software development, coding, testing, web development, even web hosting also you can outsource. Training needs, PDs, certification, you can outsource from another party. You don't have to do all the trainings by your employees. Okay, and so on. Here we have some examples companies who outsource core function or non-core functions. For example, brokerage firm. We will have more example in the activity. Outsource data center and network operations. What is this? Core or non-core? It's a core business, huh? Okay. Computer manufacturer outsource assembly of the PCs and call center. Bank, they outsource customer service center and IT help desk, and so on. You see, university hired a service provider to manage its entire IT function, and it transferred all IT assets to the service provider. This is tactical or strategic? Remember we said the difference between tactical and strategic? In tactical, there is no transfer of assets. Here they transferred assets, then it is strategic outsourcing. All right, and so on. Here we have also in your case study and flipped classroom, you will find a case study about Tata and Citigroup. Citigroup, they outsourced some processes to Tata. Okay, these processes are customer call centers and document imaging, yani archiving. Okay, also mobile banking applications, end-to-end solutions, and even infrastructure support. All outsourced by Citigroup to Tata. This is the example you will see in the class activity. Okay. So I will let you read this. I will lead you to the activity. But the benefit of their outsource was to enable business to focus on their strategic functions and to lower their annual operation costs. They don't have to hire personnel to do all these IT services. They just hire the service from another service provider, from Tata. Okay. Here are some of other benefits. substantial revenue stream potential and growing global market, because with outsourcing you can focus on your main business and you can expand, you can go overseas. Okay, you can also long-term customer relationship with opportunities for cross-selling and upselling other products and services. Cross-selling products يعني my entire product range. Upselling يعني concentrating on one product but creating different versions of it, modifying it. Okay, that's the difference between cross and up. Upscale or cross scale. Upscale يعني concentrate on one area. Any questions? So nowadays outsourcing is يعني common, okay, and they build long-term relationship with the vendors. طيب, there is a question, why do we outsource? Why don't we build it? This is always a debate. Buy or build or buy. Buy يعني outsource. Okay, so it depends. Okay, cost reduction, which will be cheaper for us, to buy or to sell? You have to decide. Okay, these are the things you think about, the management will think about before they go for an outsource. Also security, privacy. If we outsource our database, are we disclosing sensitive information without protection or not? Okay, are we sharing our trade secrets? We should not. Are we sharing the informations that can be used by our competitors? So we have to be careful when we do outsource. We have to think about these things. Lower risk is mentioned. Okay, avoid major capital investment. Yani I don't want to buy, let's say, a huge system with manpower to do my HR interviews and HR dealing with the applicants. I can just outsource the service. This is the meaning of this. All right, is it clear? طيب, what are the barriers? I think we have mentioned some of them. Or risk, what are they? Like what? Privacy, security, competitors, you need to be protected against your competitors. Political, you have to follow the policies and regulations in the country, and the country you are also outsourcing the service to, both. Okay, employee resistance. Also, you need to train your employees, you need to make them aware, because some employees will think, oh, they are outsourcing my service, then they will get rid of the employees. So you have to educate them, you have to give them assurance, for example. Lack of security, already mentioned that. Legally and regulatory, of course, we have mentioned that. Culture and time difference, this is important also. Okay, especially if I am doing offshore outsourcing, the time difference. Okay, and so on. Any questions? Okay, so these are the 5 stages of outsourcing. Okay, these are one of the classifications for outsourcing. There are, according some books, they give different stages. Okay, but let's stick to this 5 stages. Okay, you have the initial stage, assessment stage, implementation, transition, and management and update. Okay, these are the 5 stages. Okay, Yani this is actually a circle. You got my point. Management, new, and so on. So this is like a cycle. Okay. So let's look at them. Let's see the deliverables in each stage. For idea, here we develop concept, perform high-level reviews of operations. For assessment and planning, we analyze current processes and functions. We define proposed processes and functions, and so on. What about in implementation? What are the deliverables in implementation phase? We issue the RFP, request for proposals, finalize deal structure and terms, develop and negotiate contracts, human resource development, and so on. In the transition, RFP, I just mentioned, request for proposal. When you issue a request for proposal, you are inviting vendors to give you a quotation or proposal. Okay. We have transition. We already mentioned, like detailed transition plan with pilot. شو يعني pilot? Pilot here means يعني you don't implement everything one time. You can do a pilot project. You implement part of it in one part of the organization for testing. Let's say in one section, in one department. If we are happy with it, then we can implement it everywhere. Okay, this is the meaning of pilot project. Okay. Then we have the management, perform daily management activities, monitor performance, implement relationship management process, okay, and change management also if we are updating it. Okay. Here you can see if you can go or not go. Yani, does it suit us or not? Okay. If you find that the 5 stages are appropriate to your organization, each one, you need to study each stage. They are appropriate, they are operatable, okay, can be executed, okay, then you can approve. Okay, so you have to make sure that the 5 stages can be implemented, not only 1 or 2 stages, all of them, and it can be managed fully. Okay. Okay, here we have another case study. I will let you do this case study in the activity time. Here it's about, the first one was about Citigroup and Tata. Here it's about Textron and AT&T. Also Textron, they outsourced some services to AT&T. AT&T is a big telco company in the US. It's an international company. Yeah, here is the case study. Yeah, this is all according, even with the sometimes the problem with outsourcing is the communication between the supplier, between the vendor and the company, the enterprise. Okay. And also the management of the outsourced service. According to Carnegie Mellon University, managing and meeting client expectation is a major challenge for service providers in these business relationship, and examples of failure around, or failures abound. يعني شو معناها هاي? Is, let's say you want to outsource a service. You want to make sure that your customers, stakeholders, they are happy with their service. Okay, like that. So you need to make sure to establish an appropriate outsourcing strategy, business case and plan, and identify the suitable outsourcing opportunities. Not everything can be outsourced, as mentioned. Okay. This is the summary. Now I will answer your questions, but I really need you now to do the